Hey guys, Drifter here. I've got a big video for you today about Call of Duty Ghosts. We're going to be going over everything about this game in a very orderly fashion. We're going to be starting out with story details and some campaign, which is more or less the story, but general gameplay sort of stuff that's going to tie into the campaign. We got some multiplayer details, some stuff about the next consoles, the engine, everything. All of this is going to be coming from public sources, and some of this is going to be coming from the old leak that sent me a lot of information beforehand. For those of you that weren't following me in March, I got a huge set of information from somebody inside the Call of Duty machine that leaked me the title of the game early, back when people were still calling it MW4, and they leaked me the exact announcement date along with the rest of some of this information that you're going to see today. So you can click the link up there on the screen and check that out, and that'll add legitimacy to some of the other crazy claims that you're going to hear. But let's start out with the gameplay that you're watching right now. I'm using Ghost camo on some of my guns. I'm using Riot Shield TAC 45, trying to play objectively. Going to be having one of my better games, getting a lot of objectives and killing a lot of people. Now let's start out with the press release. This is a quote directly from the press release from Activision. It says, "An all-new world, story, characters, and experience." Perhaps most importantly is all new characters. That's the thing to really focus on, because everybody expects Ghost the character to come back, but this is Ghosts plural the game. This means that there's not going to be a Ghost, this means that there's not going to be a Roach, and not going to be a Price. This is a new world, a new experience. I do not believe this is built off the Modern Warfare 3 storyline. I don't even think it's a spin-off or a prequel or a sequel. I think it's in an entirely new universe and its own different sort of Call of Duty game, so I really wouldn't bet on any of these old familiar characters coming back. From the leak back in March, I got this bit of information, that the game is set in the future but uses current generation weapons. If I'm not mistaken, somewhere in some of the press releases it said the game was going to be in the future, so that part was true, but it uses current generation weapons, and the future is a little bit confusing, especially when Black Ops is already using like sort of futurized current generation weapons and some more ridiculous sort of technology. And I didn't really understand this, and I got this back. It says from the leak, the storyline will facilitate the reasoning behind using current generation weapons over futuristic ones. Well, that's a very generalized explanation, Mr. Leak, sir. That doesn't tell me anything. I could say, well, the storyline of my game tells me why there's going to be dinosaurs with lasers, but that doesn't help me understand how or why. But I think I know the how, and I think I know the why, but we're going to add a few more facts in this to add some legitimacy to my crazy speculative theories. The trailer very greatly emphasized staying hidden and wearing masks, and more specifically that some people wear masks to protect us all, or protect everyone, and it was the idea that these people, they wore masks to protect others. When I got my pre-order poster from GameStop, it had this tiny little bit of text down here in the bottom right-hand corner, so I put it in the bottom right-hand corner of the video, and it says, "We are all we've got." For those of you that order this poster at GameStop, you'll find that text down in the bottom right on the reverse hand side, where it just has the Ghost logo and not the mask pulling face guy that I see all the time. And that kind of makes me think that the character or the Ghost or whoever's in this is in kind of a desperate situation. They're in a very bad situation. We all we've got. It kind of reminds me of Halo 1's original commercial, when you are your own last best hope, that sort of thing. And me personally, I wasn't quite putting it all together, but then a subscriber sent me this video, and in his video he talked about Ghost referring to sleeper cell agents for people that don't really exist in society. In the American lexicon, we'll say, instead of a spy, we'll say this guy's a ghost, he's a spook, he's a phantom, he doesn't exist, he's not real. He's one of those people that when you capture the other government agency pretends they don't exist. And that is a very real thing. It's a real lexicon, and it would make sense in the Ghost. However, it wouldn't make sense that they'd all be using old guns or something like this. So I'm speculating that Ghost is about a group of resistance fighters after a major disaster, or perhaps a coup d'etat on the American government, or really any sort of government, or perhaps a world coup d'etat, and that Ghosts refer to the fact that they are sleeper cells, or that they are agents that live among the rest of us like normal people, but go out and do resistance fighting at night, or take part in some sort of combat operations, and aren't necessarily soldiers. So I think that the game is going to be very heavily guerrilla combat oriented, which could be really fun, because the most fun missions, at least for me in the old Call of Duty games, all revolved around the stealth missions. Usually the British SAS, I don't think the Americans had very many, but I think that's my speculation, that this is about a group of resistance fighters, that, we are all we've got. They're the last best hope for the freedom, for the recovery after the disaster, for something like that, and that they're using current generation weapons because they're cheap, They're old, they're discarded, they're easy to get their hands on. Maybe if we're in the future, it's got some Metal Gear Solid, like fingerprinting, nano ID sort of thing where you can't use other guns. So using the old stuff would be the best bet. But I could be totally wrong. I think maybe I could be extrapolating that too much. Maybe the other guy, maybe the subscriber had it right, and there's no big world disaster. Maybe it's just spies using old spy stuff. But a good idea either way. Moving on to multiplayer, we're going to mostly be talking about stuff from the leak. Not a whole lot of new information here. We've gotten a little bit of new information at the end of the video. The multiplayer info I got about the leak is that they're getting rid of the boring spawn countdowns and adding in dynamic spawns. That's the, when you die, you sit there and you watch your teammate play, or you just watch the countdown timer tick down 5-10 seconds instantly, whatever. What I was told is that instead of doing that, we're adding in what we're calling dynamic spawns, and the example that I was given was instead of just like popping in like magically, like poof, you're there, you would kind of rappel in from a helicopter, so you'd have to go down the rope like it's a little mini game, something like that. I've talked about that with some people. Some people say it's gimmicky, some people say they like it. I think it'll be neat. I think it'll be definitely, even if it is a little gimmicky, it's certainly much more engaging than just sitting there watching the 10-second countdown, because that's super, super boring to me. The other information that I got is that it will include extra movement options, including sliding and shooting. That's kind of like sliding on your knees and shooting. I'm thinking like in the Matrix, Neo sliding like with the Kimbo weapons. Pew, 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 because that's how bullets sound in slow motion. They said that you can roll when you're prone instead of kind of doing the weird like sidestep around the corner or twist your body around and watching your feet slide like crazy, but we're going to have rolling. I'm hoping it's DayZ style rolling, and peeking around corners is back. That never really went away. You've been able to do that on PC forever, but you didn't have the extra buttons on console. I don't know how that's going to go on console with the peeking, but apparently that's going to be a thing, at least according to my leak. From the press release, we've got some other information about the next consoles. Directly from the press release, it says Call of Duty Ghosts will also be available for next generation platforms. This is going to mean PlayStation 4, this is going to mean Xbox 720, Infinity, Nextbox. That hasn't even been announced yet when I made this video. And there's several little snippets throughout the press release. You can probably just Google it up somewhere, talking about how this game is the perfect opportunity to transition between platforms, or we see the transition to the next generation of consoles as a big opportunity for us here at Infinity Ward, or Activision in general. So it's definitely going to be on the next generation of consoles. It's also going to be on this generation of consoles. That's something I kind of screwed up in my original leak video, is I said it was only going to be on next generation. I knew that it was going to be on the next generation. I didn't have any information about the current generation, so I guess I submit that, A implies B and not A, not B. I made a logical error there and said that, yeah, only this and not that. So that was a big screw up. So it's going to be on all the generations. However, the next generation consoles might come a bit later. I don't know what the release date on them is. I'm sure most of them are going to be released right at a little bit after, maybe a little bit before this game comes out. So I wouldn't be surprised if your PlayStation 4 or Xbox version comes out a week to maybe a month later, maybe a little bit later into December, and then you can get your next generation version of Call of Duty Ghosts. That's my pure speculation. I don't know either way about that 100% for sure. Next bit we've got from the press release, it says all powered by the new Call of Duty engine from, all powered from the new next-gen Call of Duty engine from Infinity Ward. And this is from Infinity Ward is the big part here, because for those of you that don't remember, I also posted a video, so did a lot of other commentators at the Game Developers Conference back in, early April. They showed off a new engine. It was called the new Activision engine that Activision was going to use in their games, and I was speculating that this would be used for Call of Duty Ghosts. And it says that Call of Duty Ghosts has a new engine, but I don't know if this is an update of the old engine, because every time they update the old Quake Arena engine it was the Infinity engine, and then it became the Call of Duty engine. Then we had the MW3 engine, and Black Ops is actually still running a version of the Infinity Ward engine. They kind of branched in different paths when they added different things. I don't know if this, because technically those are new engines every time they update them. I don't know if this means an update of the old engine that's been rebranded, or if it's going to be the new Activision engine shown at the Game Developers Conference. I really hope it's the new Activision engine. I think that would be really, really cool, but that might not be the case. I'm kind of banking on the new Activision engine. That's where I'm putting my money on, and maybe I'm just a little bit optimistic on this one. But I think that would be great. That would eliminate a lot of the weird, quirky sort of problems associated with Call of Duty, and a considerable portion of the lag as well. You'd be surprised how much a new engine can help a game. And lastly, my old leak promised more interactive environments for all game modes. I originally said destructive environments because it was kind of how it was presented to me, but I didn't present it to all of you that well. The plan was to have things that, you know, interact with the multiplayer maps and the single player maps, not just the static kind of environments like, oh really, cars blow up. The goal was to have more environments that you can play with, kind of like in the Black Ops map, that you have magma, or that you can, you know, the water on hydro, lots of sort of lethal things, or little, you know, switches you can flip, things like that going on in multiplayer that you can kind of control, and to some degree increase destruction. But as I was told, they kind of wanted battlefield level destruction, but that didn't really pan out all that well, so they settled for more interactive environments. And I was also told about a chopper crashing into a map. I don't know if that was a kill streak or if it was something that just happens and it smashes people, but I guess we're going to find out. That's also kind of speculation because, again, the leak could just be full of crap, but at this point I don't think so. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed this more orderly presentation. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.